Now, the Pixel 6 has been a tumultuous ride, not saying the least, from its initial reviews to many updates thereafterwards. Of course, depending on your device and your experience. Now, 6 months later, perfect time to revisit the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro, and this is the review after the review. Now, first stop is the hardware. Now, both Pixels offer OLED panels, but you get two different flavors of display here. The 6 gives you a 6.4-inch 90Hz 1080p flat panel, while the 6 Pro gives you a 6.7-inch 120Hz QHD panel with curved edges. I get why they did that, but I would prefer both of them to have flat panels. So outside of that, still a Pixel, so it's not the best in direct sunlight and it doesn't get as bright as I'd like it to be, but it's still effective and works nonetheless. Now, you already know that both Pixels have a premium look, and that is thanks to the aluminum frame, distinctive camera bar on the rear that's reminiscent of the visor that was on the Nexus 6P, if you remember that. And then you got the latest in scratch-resistant Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and edgeless Gorilla Glass 6 on the rear. Now, one ugly piece of the hardware that we have to bring up is their in-display fingerprint reader. It's optical based, so it lights up to read or attempt to read your finger. And don't let some dust or water get on your finger because it ain't reading it. It wasn't as fast as launch, and it only got slightly faster over several updates. Still lagging, pun intended, behind the rest of the pack. Still uncertain why they got rid of their Face ID level face unlock from the Pixel 4 series. So now our next stop is, of course, the performance. And speaking of performance, we got to dive into Google's new in-house Tensor processor. So lo and behold, it's doing pretty well about half a year in. So things like streaming media, multitasking, typical Call of Duty Mobile runs with ease and zero hiccups or lockups. Keep in mind, Tensor is also doing more here than the latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. You know, along with the everyday processor stuff, the Google chip is also handling things like speech recognition, on-chip translation, and more without missing a beat. So on the battery side of things, definitely live up to the all-day battery claim. Both Pixels will have the usage. So the Pixel 6 battery got me between 6 and 8 hours, while the 6 Pro got me between 8 and 10 hours. The 6th Gen Pixels are armed with a larger 50 megapixel sensor hardwired to a 12.5 megapixel image, 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensor, and 48 megapixel telephoto sensor that's only on the Pixel 6 Pro, of course. So the results are excellent in my opinion. What would you expect from Google? You still get good color reproduction, the right amount of sharpness, and amazing dynamic range, while retaining the sharp and cool color temperature Google is known for in image processing. Same goes for the selfie camera. Within good lighting, it can still get a little noisy and little to no light. Speaking of lighting, night sight is still really good as well as its astrophotography mode. The big camera features like Magic Eraser, motion mode, action pan, long exposure, and real tone rendering for more accurate skin tones for us people of color are still amazing, by the way. For those of you interested about the telephoto aspect, with the 6 lacking a telephoto, you still get up to 7x digital zoom with super res zoom. Sweet spot in getting the best results is around 3x digital zoom, while the periscope telephoto lens on the 6 Pro gives you 4x optical zoom and up to 20x digital zoom. The sweet spot there is around 10x. Still a great addition, but I'd count on one hand the amount of times I've actually used it. And last but not least, video quality on the Pixel 6 series. Google did a moderate step up, especially in 4K at 60, to get closer to Samsung video quality. Video stabilization is actually really good. Definitely curious to see if Google can get to iPhone level video quality. So overall, I think it's still a great combination of sensors, despite the ultra wide could be a little bit better. Also, if you've read or watched our recent camera battle between Galaxy S22 Ultra, Pixel 6 Pro, and iPhone 13 Pro Max, you'll see how the Pixel fares against the competition. And last but not least, software. So Google added a little more customization to the Pixel experience on Android 12. Specifically, a wallpaper theming system, which sounds small, but you can make the look of your phone more yours, as far as having icons matches the look and color scheme of your wallpaper, and therefore and so forth. Then you got many of the AI-powered features you can only get on a Pixel smartphone, like now playing, call screening, hold for me, voice commands without having to say, "Hey Google," live captions, and live transcribing with more languages and more. But speaking of features, the feature drop has been a bit of a gift and a curse. While adding and repairing previous bug fixes, it sometimes creates new issues. I haven't had too much of that, but comment section make it seem like it's flooded with it. So despite its issues, it's still probably the best phone Google's made. Some might say it's a good execution, save for a few hiccups, while others might say Google took one step forward and several steps back. Now, my experience has been good on my Pixel 6 Pro, but my wife's Pixel 6 experience has just been okay. Your experience may vary, so keep that in mind. Now, I wonder how big or incremental the updates will be from the Pixel 7 series. Hopefully, Google can tighten up on the overall software for a better experience all across the board. Let us know what you think about it. If you have a Pixel 6, Pixel 6 Pro, have you had issues? Have you been fine? Sound off in the comments below. Thanks for watching, because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate you for doing so, and see you in the next video. Peace.